Moving on to the geographic portion of our CAGE framework. Geographically, Mexico can be split up into three distinct areas. The northern sector is an area of stunning natural beauty. The Mexican government has done great work with nature preserves, keeping large tracts unspoiled for hikers, rock climbers, and campers. The proximity to the US border means there are also major industrial and business centers located in this area. Central Mexico is primarily a volcanic plateau, surrounded by vast mountain ranges running north to south. Mexico City is at the heart of this region, but the entire region is Old Mexico at its finest, with major agricultural operations, picturesque small towns, and colonial cities beautiful enough to be made World Heritage Sites. Southern Mexico is an ecotourism haven, with seacoast jungles, marshes, and mangrove forests that offer adventure and beauty. The native Mayan culture is still very much alive here, with ancient temples and towns to explore. Geographically, Mexico has a population of 124 million people, which ranks them 11th most populated nation in the world. Mexico City is one of the largest cities in the world, with a population of around 9 million people. Spanish is the dominant language of Mexico, but around 6% of people still speak an indigenous language. Mexico's sound business environment and geographic location makes it an important market for many Canadians. The country offers legal certainty to investors and boasts many well-developed industries. Companies located in Mexico benefit from reduced shipping costs as part of one of the world's largest free trade agreements, NAFTA. And now I'll pass it off to Trevor.
And now I'm going to be talking about Mexico's economic environment. Mexico has had a huge boom in manufacturing tied to American companies and to US consumers. Wages are lower in Mexico relative to Canada. Therefore, they have lower overall income on average. Their unemployment rate is currently 5%, and 51.3% of the population is currently below the poverty line. Competition has also expanded for seaports, railroads, telecommunications, electricity generation, natural gas distribution, and airports. Natural resources of Mexico include gold, silver, timber, copper, lead, zinc, and natural gas. However, their most important resource is petroleum. It is the most valuable in Mexico, and they currently pump about 3.46 million barrels of crude oil each day. And it's also severely impacted recently by falling oil prices. Moving on to Mexico's infrastructure, the government anticipates nearly $600 billion in infrastructure investment to occur during this year, from a mix of federal, local, and private sources. New financial tools have been created to boost investments in energy and infrastructure and the role of public-private partnerships. Moving on to economies of scale. The strong arrival of several aerospace and automotive companies to Mexico over the last decade have turned the country into one of the most important manufacturing nations in the Americas and thus the world. These are very labor-intensive industries, which need a qualified workforce to carry out these operations. A skilled labor force, a friendly government, a good transportation network, several free trade agreements, and also the proximity to one of the largest markets in the world, the US. These are traditional industries such as textile, processed foods, and the steel industries, which employ many Mexicans and show how diversified its production model is. Exports were actually 13th best in the world, totaling $371.4 billion last year. Mexico's top 10 exports include vehicles, number 1 at $86 billion US, totaling 21.6% of their total exports. Second on this list was electronic equipment at $80 billion, which was 20.1% of their overall exports. And that concludes our CAGE framework. And now I will pass it off to one of my team members.